Brought to you by StationHouseCoffee.com and InspiredDisorder.com/Prime.
What you manifest in your mind, you can bring to reality.
One Cut of the Dead, a horror comedy film that I was recommended to watch by a podcast known as the Slash Filmcast. Reviewed it recently, and it sounded like an interesting film. So I checked it out myself. It is on Shudder. So I had to get the Shudder 7-day trial. I'm not a really big horror film guy, so probably a subscription to Shudder wouldn't be the best use of money for me right now. But I used that 7-day trial to watch One Cut of the Dead, which is a movie that came out back in 2017. It is a Japanese movie. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. And it's a movie that I will be saying some spoilers about. But let me say before I get into it that it's a movie that you have to really stick with the first 30 minutes of the movie, and then the movie changes and it becomes better. It kind of explains itself because the first 30 minutes are very difficult to watch, very painful to watch. But that being said, let's get started with kind of the premise of this movie. So the first 30 minutes is this low quality B-movie horror film that is all one take. The acting is not good. The writing is not good. It has some interesting moments, I guess. But the premise of this one-shot B horror film is that it's a film crew out making a film in a abandoned World War II experimental warehouse building. And while they're filming this zombie movie, they actually get attacked by zombies. Now that's like the premise of this fictional independent B movie horror film that's shot in one take. And that's like the beginning. And it's like these two actors that are trying to survive this zombie attack along with a makeup artist or whatever that's trying to survive it as well. So that's like the first 30 minutes of this is that one take B movie film that, zombie attack, whatever, right? Okay, so then after that 30 minutes starts, it switches over to it's like a week before or a month before, and it shows. Then you start seeing, okay, this is the director. This is he's like a director that kind of makes mediocre stuff. So this network decides to hire him to do this. They're going to try out this new thing on a TV broadcast where they're going to try and do a one-take live shoot of a horror series, which is the dumbest idea. I mean, if you're going to try to pull off just a TV show that's one shot, probably difficult enough, probably want a good director. If you're going to do it live also, for sure you want a good director. You don't want a guy that's known for being mediocre. You want somebody that's really going to have attention to detail and whatnot. So he gets this job, and he's trying to. It shows them going through the process of trying to rehearse, and you start seeing that some of the actors are just you have a prima donna actor. There's the actor that has an alcohol problem. There's this teen heartthrob kind of actor. There's kind of these different characters within the crew and the cast as they're trying to rehearse for this weird, crazy idea. And then the movie gets to them filming, and it's showing all of the things that were going wrong while trying to pull this thing together and make this one-shot episode happen. So it really, when you start seeing things go bad, those things are the explanation for why the original 30 minutes of this film was so bad. There's literally scenes where they're things are happening, the alcoholic falls off the wagon and they're holding up signs off camera. It's stall for time, because they're trying to do this thing live. So literally that's why the scenes in the original first 30 minutes of this film are like so stalled out. So it's kind of crazy where you have to like this movie like tortures you for the first 30 minutes, right? Showing you this horrible one-take horror film. And then it goes into explaining the making of that horror film and all of the things that went wrong for the filming of it. And ultimately, ultimately like the end of them trying to survive making this short film, the end is like almost like this redemption moment of this dad, right, who's the director of the the one take film, but then he also has to play the director within the film. It's like this redemption moment for him, who's been considered this mediocre director, like him really persevering and pushing through those moments when you want to quit. It's really like a metaphor for being an artist, right? Every artist when they first start is mediocre. Like, because you're experimenting, you don't really know what your style is, you don't know your voice, you don't know what direction you're going in. You're just kind of experimenting with new things, and your techniques aren't that good. Like most people, even people that have like a talent for it, that really latch onto it, they're not that great when they start, right? Or they don't have the consistency to be putting out regular work that's at a high level. Whereas this, like pushing through those challenges and really challenging yourself, those are the times when you grow. And the only way to fail is to give up. And this guy did not give up. So it's like, it's a weird film in that it starts off like really painful to watch. It's like I was 10 minutes in and I heard that it's going to be 30 minutes before this thing turns around. And I'm 10 minutes in and I'm like, man, like, I don't know why I'm watching this. Like, this is like one of the worst. Like, I've seen student films that are paced better than this, that have better acting and better writing than this thing. But then it makes sense if you have to climb through that slop in the beginning of the movie to really appreciate why it was so sloppy. Like, it did become like this really bad, not even mediocre, just bad. But the fact that it was able to be accomplished is fun. It's kind of like, it was much more of a comedy after that. Once it turns, it's like, this is a comedic movie. I mean, this is, at no point is this a horror film. I mean, the initial 30 minutes of this movie is a horror film, but it's not scary at all. It's really bad. It's just really bad, really bad. But some people love that like really bad B horror film aesthetic. I don't. I like well-made stuff. Even if it is raw, like, you can still have good things come out of a raw kind of direction and raw performance. Like, you don't need a huge budget to pull off good storytelling. But it was like the gimmick was more important than any substance. And but then it pays off, because it's like, oh, now it goes from like this really bad B horror film that's not even like so bad it's funny kind of a horror film. It's just bad. And then you suffer through that, and then the movie turns into a comedy. Kind of like, it is very much kind of a guy trying a redemption story, but within a comedy. But it's fun. It's a fun, interesting, super interesting movie. Like, the premise of it is super interesting. The execution of it, once you kind of understand what's happening, is amazing. And then even after the movie's over and it's like, okay, this is how it ends, the end, credits roll, then they show you behind the scenes footage while the credits are rolling of the actual making of that initial 30-minute one take shot. So it's like they made that first 30-minute horrible B horror movie legitimately, with all the pauses and all the things. And then they created a story to kind of explain all of the bad things that happened, the bad camera work that happened, the bad, dialogue, and just kind of the slow moments that mean nothing, the meandering moments. So it's like such a meta, like, layer upon layer of storytelling. It almost like broke my mind watching the credits. But even the credits are great in this movie. So I'm really happy I watched it. Happy I suffered through the first 30 minutes. I would actually like to show people this movie, but watch it with them so I can see their reaction to the first 30 minutes of this. And then once it turns into a more traditional type film style with, actually setting up a story of like how that piece of shit was made. It was super interesting. I really liked it. I love, it's very creative, very original. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it a lot. It's like so surprising that it like pulled itself together at the very end to make me really enjoy it. But check it out if you have Shudder, and if not, I don't know when you'd be able to get it if you wanted to buy it. If you're a huge horror film fan, or if it sounds like an interesting premise, check it out. One Cut of the Dead came out in 2017. Make sure you support our sponsor, StationHouseCoffee.com, and follow Station House Coffee on Instagram. Order yourself some amazing small batch, single origin, premium coffee brewed in Thetford Center, Vermont, and shipped directly to you. Go to StationHouseCoffee.com and order yourself some coffee today. Also, get yourself 30 days free of Amazon Prime. Go through my link, inspireddisorder.com/Prime. You know all the benefits you get with Prime. You get the unlimited streaming of all their movies and TV shows and music. You get to borrow Kindle books. And, of course, when you order stuff on Amazon, it shows up as fast as it could possibly show up for free shipping, free movies, free TV, free music, all kinds of free stuff for 30 days when you sign up for Amazon Prime, 30-day free trial. Use my link, inspireddisorder.com/Prime. New episodes of The Ray Taylor Show come out every single day. Subscribe on IGTV, YouTube, and everywhere else podcasts are found. Binge the full week ad-free over at patreon.com/inspireddisorder. Buy Ray Taylor Show merch over at inspireddisorder.com, and follow the show on Instagram at Ray Taylor Show. Have a great day, everybody. Peace out!